Well, we are starting to transition from summertime to fall, when the days are still hot, but it cools down in the evening. So to save on our AC, we've decided to finally complete the installation of this whole house fan that the previous owner started to install. The fan shroud was already there, so all I needed to do was get a motor for it and install it. I grabbed about 50 feet of Romex cable and wired up the motor first before heading up into the attic. Once in the attic, I simply had to run the Romex cable down the inside of the wall and mount the motor onto the fan shroud. Dropping the Romex cable down through the wall was simple enough, but unfortunately the mounting bracket for the motor wasn't a perfect fit, so it required a little bit of modification in order for the motor to sit in exactly the right position for the belt. This is very important to get right because if the motor is not in the correct position, it can cause vibration and noise, and even worse, can lead to excessive wear on the motor and even cause it to heat up, making it a fire hazard. So after bending the mounting bracket to fit the ½ inch that it was off, I mounted it back on the motor and then I could put the motor in place. I added a little bit of foam tape in between the mounting bracket and the shroud to protect against noise. Then made sure the motor was just snug enough on the belt, but not too much to avoid binding. Then I tightened it down. Next up, installing the switches and wiring it up. So I marked the location of the electrical box for the switches and cut out the drywall. After making sure my hole was big enough, I pulled the Romex out and the switches for the hall lights. This is where I'm going to grab the electrical power from. With the circuit breaker turned off, I had no lights, so running a piece of Romex from the existing switches to my new location was a little tricky, but I got it done. For the switches for the fan itself came with a high-low switch for the fan speed, but I got this smart switch from Kasa that works with Alexa or its own app for the main power, so I can turn it on and off from anywhere. Now I'm not an electrician, so I won't give any instructions for connecting the electrical. But the switches for the fan came with pretty good instructions on their own, and with some Googling you can find out how to grab the power from behind the existing switches. But do not attempt this if you are not comfortable doing electrical work. Have an electrician do it for you. With the power back onto the breaker, I could test the switches and everything was good. All that was left was to button everything back up. Now we have a working whole house fan to pull the hot air from the day out into the attic. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.